I woke up this morning around 284.
What's up guys and welcome. You are watching Fezzy Fitness. So let's start this video with this front double biceps from the mutant Nick Walker. Still the biggest arms in the men's open bodybuilding, with Michael Krizo coming in at very close second. So Nick Walker seems to be 100% satisfied with his new coach and his current look. But I have to say it is still too early to call how it is gonna play out for him, because I clearly remember he was admiring Dom Super Sliced when he first started working with him, when he first split up with his former coach Matt Jensen, but only stuck with him for a few months just for the off-season.
You know, depending on how long you guys have been following me for, me and Kyle have had a very, very long friendship. I think since 2018, I believe, is when it started.
So speaking about his former coach Matt Jensen, have you guys ever seen such a famous fitness personality, one of the best bodybuilding gurus of the modern times, just disappear from the scene altogether in just a matter of a few weeks? So Nick Walker might have been supportive of Matt Jensen when they decided to pull out of the Olympia this year, but the whole chatter that was going on in the whole bodybuilding industry, that must have also gone to Nick Walker as well, because if he was doing everything he was supposed to do and he did not get the results, it's none of his fault. So Nick Walker has to be a lot better than what he looked like at his last show, which was the New York Pro. Now that was good enough to beat Martin Fitzwater, but I have to say if it was Martin from this year's Miss Olympia, Nick Walker would have lost that. So the offseason for Nick Walker, that has been going extremely well and has come back in 2025. That will be one of the biggest storylines of next year because of the unpredictability.
But overall, you know, I woke up this morning around 284. I feel really good. Strength's really good. Body feels good. We're doing no cardio right now. We're just doing a lot of hard training, which...
So Chris Bumstead moving to Men's Open Plus, that has made many classic guys talk about this topic as well. So one of the guys who would actually do really well, even in the men's open bodybuilding, if he continues to grow at this pace, that is the guy who placed second at Classic Physique Miss Olympia this year, Mike Sommerfeld. In fact, a lot of Classic Physique fans, they have this opinion about Mike, that he isn't classic, which by the way I disagree with. I mean, the man has got an unbelievable V-taper, amazing flow, he has great muscle depth from every angle, and this is the guy to beat for Classic Physique Olympia title next year. So CBum doing an open shoe, that will pave the path for a lot of these guys to jump into open pro shoes just for fun and see where they stand, just to see how they compare with the freaks of open bodybuilding. So all of these post-Olympia physique updates of Mike Sommerfeld, they make you question, how is this guy still under the Classic Physique weight limit? Because the man is absolutely massive. I'm sure you guys remember him standing next to Derek Lunsford, the men's open bodybuilding champion, and still looking so damn big. And it is so crazy how Mike was able to change so much and the entire spectrum of Classic Physique division in just 1 year. So Ramon went from being the biggest rival of CBum to placing 4th in the world this year, and Wesley went from being the one to challenge Chris Bumstead this year all the way down to 8th. He wasn't even in the first call out. So again, I'm gonna say, as of right now, Mike Sommerfeld is the frontrunner for the Olympia next year. Another exciting talent has just been added to this upcoming Big Man weekend next month, and the last show of 2024, that is also turning out to be a great one. So Mark Hector will make his return to bodybuilding stage for the very first time since 2022. In fact, him fighting his way back to a point where he thinks he's gonna be competitive against all those big names again after so many injuries. That is such an inspirational story, because the man suffered from a horrible shoulder injury, and for that, he went through a shoulder surgery, not once, but twice in the last 2 years. And it isn't wrong to say that his career was on the line, but right now he is a little more than 2.5 weeks out of his next show. So Mark has that amazing chest and super round delts. He has that 3D and bubbly kinda look to all of his muscles. And this is probably the best his side chest has ever looked. His quads also have been looking a lot better, especially in the last few months after he was allowed to train the way he wanted to. And we have to keep in mind, this was one of the feedbacks given to him by the judges to bring up his quads. So Mark has a very aesthetically pleasing physique. His shoulder to waist ratio is just insane. And judging by his look from one of his last shows, his biggest weakness at that time was his back. So how good was Mark back in 2022? So just 1 point separated him and Patrick Johnson in France. That is how close he was from getting his first pro win and his Olympia qualification. Stefan's transition into the men's open class without even making his classic physique Olympia debut, that has been one of the most exciting storylines of this year. And I have got to say that man has been mutating faster than we imagined. So we could see this trend with many classic physique guys like Oskar Lashinsky or Ramon, who have a really hard time making that weight cutoff. And they have to be so restricted, even in the off-season with the food and with the trainings. Because the fact is their body literally wants to grow and they're craving for so much food. And that is exactly what's happening in Stefan's case as well. His body is growing like crazy because he was probably one of those guys who was sacrificing the most amount of muscle trying to make that weight cutoff. And he was competing in classic physique for more than 2 years. But now it has been only a few months since Stefan made this decision of no longer suffering to make that weight and show up less than 90% of his true potential. And the man is already weighing in the 270s. And that, I have to say, is a great looking 270 pounds, considering the conditioning he is in right now. So at his current pace of growth, a men's open bodybuilding debut that is scheduled to be held next year. So is there any bodybuilder who competed in classic physique division who switched over to the men's open bodybuilding and got to the Olympia stage? So Brad Wilkin is the only one who comes to my mind who competed in classic, but it took him many years to be big enough to win an open shoe. So do you guys think Stefan is going to be successful as a men's open bodybuilder? Next up, we have a 2.5 weeks out physique update of Louis Breed. He is going to be doing this upcoming Big Man weekend, which is happening in December. And contrary to what some of us believed, that the last show of the year that will have no big name, while Akeem Williams is going to be there to spoil everyone's party. I don't think anyone in that lineup will be able to beat Akeem Williams, especially if he comes in as he did for this year's Romania Pro. That being said, the hard grainy look of Louis Breed in his most recent update, that must be appreciated. So this definitely gives off a bit of Branchborn vibes. And Louis has been so consistent in all of the shows that he did in 2024, with his best being Europa Pro, where he placed in the top 3. Now he doesn't have what we call an aesthetic or a pretty looking physique on the stage, but Louis can make a case for himself and his first pro win on the basis of his hard granite look. Now this is a type of physique where a strategy has to be applied on what show he is gonna go for if he wants to get to the Olympia stage. It is really important who shows up for battle against Louis Breed, because a physique like him, that just cannot go up against an aesthetic mass monster. For instance, in this case, Akeem Williams. So Louis has to pick a show, keeping all that in mind. So hit the thumbs up button if you liked the video, and smash the subscribe button if you wanna come back for more. Thanks for watching.